All right, this next video that we'll watch is from Grumpy Eye. So these are the 20-minute videos that I managed to turn into an hour because I usually disagree with his tone or his delivery, but for the most part, his messages I usually agree with. And he said, Star Citizen, our standards are too low. I think I've done an Answer the Call about this topic specifically. But let's see what Grumpy has to say.
Hello and welcome to another Grumpy's Rehab Facility video. I almost forgot what the video title is. Anyway, today we're going to talk about if our standards are a bit too low regarding Star Citizen, of course. So stay tuned. And
I think they're more than a bit too low. I think they're way too low. And I've argued all the time, I think CIG's standards for what's shippable is way too low. If you look at inventory, looting, and specifically selling recently. How do you do an update to selling with a search bar and do not make it more intuitive to sell? They had a buying change where you could search for something, but could not sell things easier.
Intro.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
Sure, it was easier, but priorities.
All right, so first things first, this here, this number here, it's amazing. It is amazing. Like, I still have no idea what to say except thank you, and thank you for trusting me, and thank you for subscribing. And there's still a lot of people that watch my videos but are not subscribed, and you guys are just peeping toms and you're just weird, and that's it. But this number, fucking amazing. Like, 1,000 new subscribers.
Guys,
in less
stop
than a
being
month.
weird.
I feel like a huge fucking YouTuber.
Don't stare.
Even though I don't want to be a YouTuber. Still, like I'm still not sure if I want to be a fucking YouTuber because I'm a musician. Anyway, so SaltEMike, I gotta address this. For the past few weeks, when I released this video, somebody suggests to him to watch this video, and I guess somebody will suggest this one too,
Yep,
because we clearly share the same views on the game and on the project and everything. But Salty, dude, Mike, dude, all of my Sunday videos, all of the Rehab Facility videos are just me ranting, and this one is not gonna be an exception at all. And I'm just gonna rant about our standards, and that's it. So if you want to watch me rant, yeah. But if you want to watch an actual video from me, then you can watch any other video except the Sunday videos.
I only watch these
except
videos.
the Rehab Facility videos.
I only watch these videos.
No.
But okay, so I will address this because I totally understand what he's saying here. I say this to you guys all the time. I don't make content for you to consume. Aside from Week in Review, you guys have really turned Week in Review into it being about you, where I absolutely don't want to miss it or don't want to do it poorly, although I thought this week's episode was terrible. For the majority of the stuff that I put out there, especially my scenes or my streams, I don't do this for you. I do this because I enjoy doing it, because it's a release for me. It's it's for me. It makes me feel good. You guys just happen to come around, which is wild and fun and cool, and it's neat. But in the end, I turn on the stream for me, not for you. So I think he does these videos to just kind of let loose and get his aggression or emotion or frustration out with Star Citizen. Because I kind of talked to him about his delivery with this and was like, dude, you would go so much farther if your delivery wasn't so angry or whatever. But in the end, if he just wants to release and that's what his YouTube channel is for, then I get it.
This is done. Yeah, so
but
I
if you
think
want that number
our
to go
standards for this game are
sometimes your delivery matters.
Here's why. I have played a bunch of alphas in my lifetime. I was an alpha tester of Squad. Some of you that subscribed already know this story, but I'm gonna tell it again. I was an alpha tester of Squad. I was an alpha tester of War Thunder, and I got banned from the forums of War Thunder because I was telling the devs to fix the fucking game, because some of the bugs that and some of the like bad mechanics that were apparent even during the alpha stage of the game are still in the game, and they haven't changed at all, and that's a serious issue. And I have played Squad. I still play it. There's a new update, and I gotta do a fucking video on it because that game is just amazing. But I have played Squad.
I've never
and
played
I have
Squad.
had similar, not the same, but similar experiences with the dev team. Because if something is wrong, you want it to get fixed. But I'm gonna say this, in both cases, most of the bugs and most of the bad game mechanics were
probably wouldn't
fixed
like it.
in the next patch. Even though the communication between the community and the devs wasn't really on the level that we have with Star Citizen. So with Star Citizen, we have the issue council. And for some reason, I don't know.
What would you rather have? Jared, Jake, Xylo, whomever, Ulf communicating with you every week, or would you rather get your bugs fixed? I know it's those are mutually exclusive, but I would take the don't communicate with me at all, gather feedback, and get the job done versus the weekly updates that we get right now.
Like people still don't know about the issue council, and probably because there's no link to it on the launcher, because that would be fucking amazing, right? Like just having that link
Or
there,
in-game.
and people would click on it and just like they would just want to see what it is, and then
Bug
they will
reporting from
realize
in-game
that this
would
is
be
actually
sick.
useful, and we can use it to help the developers. But here's the thing: what is the use of having an issue council if some of the bugs are just gonna be like non-recognized, if most of the bugs that are in the game are just gonna be like, yeah, well, we'll fix it at some point, or we're not gonna fix it because we're gonna rework the whole thing at some point, so
Yep.
you're just gonna be stuck with it for like 6 to 9 months or a year or 2 years or whatever.
What I notice more than anything is the fixing the low-hanging fruit bugs and not as much of the real problematic bugs that are the game-breaking ones. And usually it's because those are harder to fix, but then sometimes they just never get fixed. And then it's always this, well, we didn't have enough time and all these things. And yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know which bug is like the one that probably bothers me the most with, like, I'm trying to think of an example because I don't think it's appropriate to say that there's something that's an issue and then not give an example for a solution. I think maybe the quantum issues, but I think they've all but resolved those finally, but we dealt with those for a very, very long time, right? Elevators are one that's mentioned in chat, but I think they've explained that elevators and doors are some of the most difficult things in gaming to deal with. So, or game development to deal with, I should say. Yeah, I don't know. So it just comes down to that. Yeah, I think gunplay bugs are really, really problematic, and oddly enough, they're starting to fix them now with the reload issue, right? Where you drop empty mags. Because when you would load an empty mag into your magazine, or it would seemingly seem like a bug that would be, I just reloaded, why am I not getting any magazines? It's because you don't drop the empty one. The empty one stays on you take the empty one and put it on your suit until 3.17.1, right? So there were a lot of examples of silly bugs that could have been fixed that weren't, because there's so many of them that they had to prioritize whatever they prioritize. But it does feel like, as a player of the game, that the prioritization of whatever bugs do get fixed seem to be the easier ones and not the ones that actually affect the players in a really negative fashion sometimes, right? But it does seem like right now, 3.17.2, they're really, really trying to fix whatever's going on with the teleporting AI and other players. But yeah.
Like, what is the point of having that? Even though I must say that, like, having an issue console is a really big thing, and I have never seen a game.
Somebody said in chat, typically you would hold on to your empty mags because you would fill them with bullets. Yes, but would it make sense to put them in your backpack or something, or have an actual? Maybe I think the problem is we don't have a good inventory system. So when you click I, there's not a box that holds my magazines, and there's not an easy way to determine which magazine is empty and which one isn't, right? So I would love to just dump it in my backpack as a default for when they do mag stripping, and it would make sense to do that now. But yeah, IRL people use drop pouches. Yeah, so maybe there should be an extra little inventory slot on our suits or something. Maybe certain suits come with them. But yeah, I mean, we just need a paper doll. I'm sorry. Like, this third-person inventory, stop it.
Or a game development
I'm ranting
team
on
that
his
actually
rant video.
needs something like that.
Sorry.
And that is just amazing to me. But what's the point in having that if most of the bugs are just going to be shoved under the carpet, and the devs are just going to say, yeah, we're going to deal with that once we get to it. And that's the end of it.
And a lot of the times on the issue council, a bug gets categorized as not a bug or fixed or like miscategorized by the development studio. Unable to reproduce when the entire community can reproduce it. Way too often.
What's the point in having any communication with the developers through Spectrum or
and usually,
through the issue council?
The way it's categorized
if
is not.
They're just gonna disregard
what they think about
like screams, our outcries. Like, we were asking for the Call ATC button for I don't know how many years. Like, for me, when I joined back in 2020, I was like, dude, is this really it? Can
back
we
in
really
2020,
not fucking bind this like to a key on a keyboard or on our joysticks? Like, that's just weird to me. But then I've heard that people were just like screaming at the developers for that for years. The search bar in the inventory system, we have the inventory system for like 9 months now, and we still don't have a search bar. That items don't really stack. I'm not gonna break any Evocati rules because I'm not in Evocati, and I just saw the leak, so this is not breaking any NDAs because there's a leak. But there's gonna be a search bar in the new kiosks. But there's
I guess this
same
is an old
kiosk
video
still, but they just added the search
I was getting
bar,
ready to...
which is like, thank you for listening to the community. But let's talk about our standards. In the next patch, we're gonna get the derelict reclaimers, and that is just a point of interest. That is like, we're gonna also have nav meshing, but we'll see how it's gonna work because we currently don't know. But that's not really a big thing. It's just a point of interest, and that's it. In the current patch, we had everything completely fucking broken. Like, the game is unplayable. I haven't played it since the patch dropped. I was just like there during Invictus, made my money, and fucked off. I just couldn't bear trying to play this game when the game doesn't want to fucking be played, and that's it. But there were no hot fixes that would fix the issues, the glaring issues of this patch. Like, none at all. And the only...
Okay, I have a question for software devs, game devs, if any of you guys are in chat. What is the difference between a hotfix and a new patch, and why are some things able to be hotfixed and other things are not? Because I get where Grumpy's coming from here. Like, you would think that it would make complete sense for some issues in a 317 to be hotfixed and fixed. And then you have 317.1 having to come out. And then you have 317.2 coming out. So they do these whole patches, deliver all this data to people, which costs money. Paukil says it's entirely dependent on how the project is set up. I mean, I trust Paukil on this one. We've talked about these things before, and he seems really knowledgeable on the subject. So yeah, maybe it's just... But they do it sometimes. Small code changes that don't need a lot of testing would be hotfixed. Okay. Interesting. So nothing is a small code change, or nothing is small that doesn't need testing on this. But it's usually a temp solution. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
thing that
it.
you can do is like PvP around Grimhex or get a climb stat and PvP wherever, and that's it. But that's just fucking, like, to me, it got boring. It got really fucking stale and boring, and I just had to, like, take a chill pill for a month or a couple of months and not play the game because, fuck's sake, dude, like, after playing 3.13, 14, 15, 16, and then 17, and then 17.1, and 3.12, and 3.11, I think, I'm good. I'm good. Like, all of the patches that got released since
he's a
I started
PvPer.
playing.
He likes PvP, and PvP is dead. PvP is dead right now. They've literally killed almost every aspect of it at this point, and just murdered it and beat it to death because you can't. Nobody's playing because of a wipe. There's one. So you can't find any other people around. They killed piracy and distortion, so you can't distort people down and stop them. You just blow them up, so it's kind of boring. There's no incentive to PvP because you gain nothing from it in a lot of ways, and players just don't want to do it. I don't find people ever for fights, and the higher end PvP groups are complaining that there's nothing to do. So I'm just speaking. I'm just reiterating things that they've said to me. Personally, the distortion thing is a big problem, though.
This game were like bad. Basically, they were just getting like worse and worse for some reason. And let's concentrate on one thing. For example, for you that played prior to 3.17, Grimhex had its elevators completely broken, and they would be just like double elevators, and that wasn't fixed for like a year or maybe more. I know that it wasn't fixed for a year.
It was
and
really bad.
The reasoning was,
and it might happen again.
We're gonna rework the whole thing, so we're not gonna fix it. I don't know if they're broken again in this patch. I have no idea because I'm not playing this patch. I would imagine that they fixed them, but like, what do I know? Like, are they gonna stay like that or are they gonna break? I know that the other elevators were completely fucked up now, and the elevators are always a fucking issue in Star Citizen for some reason. And when is that gonna get addressed? What is the issue? Then we have the NPCs that are not even fucking standing on chairs anymore. They're just levitating. They're just like ascending, like it's the fucking second coming. And like, do we need, because here's the thing, they were standing on chairs for quite a while, and then Chris Roberts' daughter played the game and she was like, Dad, why the fuck are the
That's not why they got
NPCs,
fixed, though.
well, she didn't swear because she's not an asshole like I am, but why are the NPCs standing on chairs? That's like breaking immersion. And then I guess that Chris like screamed at somebody and they fixed the NPCs, and they were fixed for like one more patch, and then they got even more broken for the next patch and then the next patch, and now they're just fucking levitating. You go to an 890 jump mission and the NPCs spawn outside of the 890 jump and you can't finish it. Most of the box missions are broken. Most of the game is broken. And I know that there is somebody right now typing, like rage typing on the fucking keyboard in the comment section, telling me that it's still an alpha, and if I don't know how to play an alpha, I shouldn't play one. Like, first off, did you play any other alphas? Ever?
Yeah.
Because I have, and I was like working on like smallish games. I was doing sound design and all of that. It's not really important. It's not nowhere close to Star Citizen, of course. And I can say that I know a thing or two about like how things are developed. And even just being an alpha tester of a few games, and there were more, but like I have mentioned two.
But did you alpha test for a quadruple A game in development that is crowdfunded for $500 million? Not even close.
They're really big, and like I know how it should work, and Star Citizen is just not working like that.
4 times
things
the alpha,
should get better, not worse. Things should get fixed in each patch, and once you get a bunch of things fixed for each patch, you're gonna have a better experience. But let's take a step back and talk about the games that I was an alpha tester of. For example, I can talk about Squad. In Squad, there was an issue, this was like the funniest bug ever. You would have the grenade launcher that's like mounted under the M4, and you could shoot like under your feet, and you wouldn't really rocket jump, but you would just fling yourself across the fucking map and die somewhere because of the fall damage. But yeah, next patch, it was out. It was just fixed. And whatever got broken in Squad, it was fixed for the next patch. There are some things that are probably not fixed yet, but most of it got fixed. And we can't really say that about Star Citizen, because each patch will break something else, as we...
Were they... I wonder if they were still adding features, and was there a live environment for it, where the game had to be more polished, or was the game like incredibly unpolished at the time and they were just constantly fixing? Like I agree with Grumpy that like this is not traditional and at all, and that's probably one of the reasons why I don't know if he can compare his experiences alpha testing in Squad or War Thunder to Star Citizen, because they have to do this like live environment bullshit and have the game actually be playable. I just wonder what it was like back then in terms of the playability of it. I still imagine it was much better. But yeah.
We know and as we have experienced. But if you neglect bugs from previous patches, those are just gonna accumulate. And this game is getting bigger and bigger.
There he's right.
And currently it is
It's called
already
tech debt,
really
right?
big. And when do you think that CAG is gonna fix all the bugs? In how many years from now? If it takes them like a year to 18 months to make a capital ship, if it takes them 4 or 5 years to like give us a core ATC button, how many years do you think that it would take them to get rid of most of the bugs? I don't know. Like the game is just growing larger and larger, and it's gonna be really hard to like track all the bugs and fix all the bugs, and most of them are for some reason intertwined somehow. And I guess it's pretty normal that if you change like a font on the coal elevator thing, that it's gonna break the fucking elevator completely for some reason, because you changed something and you didn't like look at the whole code, and it just broke everything.
It's
but,
insane.
Like, when are they gonna resolve?
I give this example all the time. We modded this game called Eco that we play. We modded a menu on it, and it turned the sky off. I modded a menu in the F1 menu. If you hit F1, the help menu, I changed some text there, and the sky turned off. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, so that's like I put a comma in the wrong place and the sky turned off. Those two things you wouldn't think are related, but they are.
All of that. And then on top of that, you have ships that you pay for like $750 fucking dollars, 700 whatever. You have the C2 A2 M2, the A2, which is the most expensive ship.
Guys.
The fucking elevator is still broken. Like you can use it, but it doesn't look good. It breaks immersion. But you paid, I don't know how, like $700 for a ship that doesn't work properly. Then you have the reclaimer. You can't even fucking access most of the areas most of the time in most of the patches because, yeah, fuck it, well, we forgot. And then it's just gonna accumulate, and in the end we're just gonna have a broken piece of shit experience like we do have right now. But here's the thing, it's only gonna get worse before it gets better, and
Correct.
That's what I said in one of my videos a few weeks ago.
That's why I'm confused what he's getting at here. Is he's kind of, we haven't gotten to the standards thing yet, which is typical Grumpy. We're 13 minutes into the video and he's rambled on about random things that have nothing to do with our standards. But the issue here for me about what he's saying is the idea of if you keep piling these bugs up, it's going to keep getting worse. Yes. But what are they supposed to do if they're still adding features that are always going to introduce bugs and introduce problems, right? So they're going to fix the bug. They're going to add a feature. It's going to add the bug again. It's going to add a new bug. So there's lots of issues here because, yeah, we still need to make the game. Exactly. And my guess would be is that when things like server meshing come in and more of the underlying tech of the game is a thing, then you have the ability to stop what you're doing as far as developing goes and fix the issues that you have now. Like somebody in chat just said, stop adding features, fix the game. You can't, because the game we have now is not what anybody asked for. Nobody asked for the game that we have now. I like the game that we have now if it worked well. It's kind of like Daisy in Space. But if you look at it and everything starts working, you realize how empty and bad the game is. Because you don't see anybody. You barely interact with anything. It's not good. They need to keep adding features. And because of that, it's going to be problematic for a while. And it just is what it is. But if he ever gets to our standards, I do agree they're still way too low, and I think the people whose standards are too low are actually the CIG devs or whoever says, "Yep, that's good enough to ship." That's who I think standards are too low. And I'll always go back to inventory, looting, third-person inventory, and selling as absolutely unacceptable levels
they are current
of a feature to get pushed out. I understand it's tier 0. That is tier -3. We need to get to tier 0 where you can actually sell something without having to click it 600 times.
They're working on server meshing, and then they're probably gonna do some bug smashing.
Third-person inventory, we said while it was in development, was fucking stupid. It's still stupid.
All that. They will probably do some bug fixes for 3.17.2, but we know CAG and we know Star Citizen, and we know that it's still going to be broken in some way that we can't really expect, basically. And then, on top of that, they add a point of interest and everybody goes, wow. They add an event and everybody goes like apeshit. For 5 or 6 years now, they have delayed salvage. They have delayed a bunch of major game loops that were promised back in 2016, as far as I remember. Maybe it was 2017. But they have delayed all of that. And we're still waiting on salvage. And salvage in the end is just going to be beams, whatever, because it's easy. But like, our standards that fucking low that we get amused and amazed and excited about points of interest, about the same box missions, but you do them if you have a crime stat. How low are our standards? And then there's another guy rage typing, well, yeah, they're focusing on Squadron 42, but they are taking our money for Star Citizen. You're paying for ships for Star Citizen, and you can pay for Squadron 42, and you can buy it on the website if you wanted to. And I believe that money, like the money that you paid for Squadron 42, should have went into
in a lot of
Squadron
ways the tech
42
is the fix.
development.
Yeah.
The other, like, all the other money should have went into Star Citizen, and all the other developers should have went into Star Citizen, because we are buying ships for Star Citizen. We are pledging, we are giving them our money, we're helping them out to make the game of our dreams, not the game of our nightmares. The game of our lucid, immersive, happy, joyful, whatever, dreams, nightmares. But currently we have a nightmare. And like that nightmare is just gonna expand, and I hope that the new Manchester office is gonna fix all of that, and that there are gonna be more people that are gonna work on Star Citizen. But you never know with CAG. They might just like get all those people and make them work on Squadron 42 or the sequel to Squadron 42, because yeah, like it's Chris's dream. And that's it. So the main question here is if our standards are too low. And I can can say that our standards are too low because we don't have data running. We still don't have salvage. It's just around the corner, but it was around the corner for
Bro, the first my favorite thing is the first career he mentions is data running. How the fuck do you have data running without multiple star systems? So like read the design of data running. The reason data running exists is because information can't travel through jump points, so you have to travel it via ship. In the lore, that's like the lore behind data running. So why would they ever work on data running until we actually have multiple star systems and not just 2?
fucking 5-6 years now. We don't have exploration.
I think it's because he wants it.
There's no point
like
in
you
having
guys,
land
but yeah.
vehicles. We don't have passenger transport. Piracy is barely working. It is currently not working. We have no racing. We have no farming. We have no homesteads. We have like 90% of this game is not done yet, and it's been 11 years now because they had to have something to show for the Kickstarter. Therefore, they were working on it a year prior to the Kickstarter, so it's gonna be like 11 years now. And like then we get a river and everybody gets fucking excited, and then the river is trash, but everybody's still excited because they can see some progress. But it's like snail pace. And what happened to science? What happened to smuggling? What happened to whatever? Like there's a lot of things that they announced and that are just around the corner.
Where's Theaters of War?
And then we get excited for, I don't know, selling items to shops, which like most of the games in the past 10 years have, because like it's just normal to have that, and it's not
I mean, to be fair, it is exciting to get things that are normal in other games in this game, but it goes exactly to what he says, is our standards are too low.
Thing to implement that, but we get really excited about that, and we get excited about the fucking river, and we go and look at the river from our Carracks, from our $600 Carracks that have no fucking game loops for them. And like if you say that our standards are not that low because there's 8K rice and Klesher or 8K towels in the Carrack, then I don't know what to tell you guys. Like I really
like Grumpy and I are very much the same. I think we want the game to drive our action, but the more and more I realize the Carrack does have a lot of its game loops. You can put cargo on it. You can place vehicles on it. Its medical bed works. It has turrets. It has a hangar in it that you could take ships in and out. There's just generic pieces of it that aren't working. Not generic, but very important pieces of it that aren't working, like long distance probing or whatever, right? That's going to come with larger exploration ships. None of that is there, but some of the sandbox elements of the game are. And that's the kind of thing that I'm realizing about the game is there's a lot there. It's just the problem is we're the ones who have to do it. And like Grumpy, I don't want to have to do those things. It has been fun when I have, and I've been doing them more recently, and I've been enjoying the game more than I ever have in the past because I've kind of accepted the fact that the game is not going to drive my interaction with its own universe. I'm the one who has to drive it. I don't like that. That's not what I came here for. I wanted reputation to drive me. I wanted the reputation rewards to drive me. I wanted my ownership of something and competing for it or whatever to drive my gameplay. None of that is there. But yeah. I also accept, I guess my standards are too low now because I accept the fact of what it is now, but I always have, and I've always said, once they put meshing in, I want to see what they do, and then if they really don't do anything with this, it kind of confirms for me that this is just never going to be a fun game, but I don't know until then.
Really don't. And
We
in
just
the
want
end,
it to be
somebody's
fun
gonna
now, but it
also rage
won't
type
be.
in the comment section and tell me that I'm just whining and that I'm just being a dick and that's it. And I'm not constructive at all. But here's the thing. Like, here's how you solve it. You go to the issue council, you report the bugs, you upvote the bugs that are already reported, and then you go to Spectrum and then you fight. And you tell the developers that this is not enough, and you brigade them whenever you can during live streams or whatever. And you tell them that this is not enough, we need more, and like then they will probably get like more people working on Star Citizen, and then in the end we're gonna have a better experience. That's how you do it. You can't vote with your money because there's always going to be new players that are going to have new money, and there's always going to be new money coming in.
Removed by
and
Knight
that's
Rider,
it.
removed by Synthwave.
There is no boycott.
Banned from the Twitch stream.
That does not work. That never fucking works ever anywhere in the fucking world. Even if your government is like exploiting you and your bills are too high because they just want to fucking get your money and that's it. Calling people for a boycott is not going to work because people are still going to at least 50% of the people are still going to pay the bills, and then the rest is going to like either go to jail or they're going to have to pay the price for not paying the bills. And that's how it works. So like boycotting and voting with your wallet does not work. Voting with your throat, voting with your fingers, that works. And
Bro,
that's
these
how,
guys don't give a
how it
fuck,
is.
okay?
On top of that,
They'll do
if you
whatever
don't
they want.
see
They always
Spectrum as a place where you should post or
Who in this community would say, guys, you know what I think? I think Squadron 42 should be the priority. Not if we voted with our voice, Squadron 42 would have been shelved.
a place where like anything is gonna get done, you can do it on YouTube. You can make your own channel. You can brigade the YouTubers that have some influence, because they are influencers, and you can tell them, hey, like, please, you don't even fucking need to be rude. First off, don't be rude.
Please,
like, that's
level
my
cap.
job. My job is to be abrasive and rude.
Please,
So just let me be
Berks,
that.
talk to Summit
You
for me.
be polite, and you just go to the YouTubers' channels or Spectrum or whatever you want to, and tell them that we need more, that we need to see more progress, that we are not satisfied, and that our standards are not really that fucking low that we're gonna get excited about a fucking.
You know what's funny is a lot of the things that he talked about were bugs in terms of standards. Bugs are going to be there. For me, it's the tier 0 stuff. Also, look at this fucking... Is this a phone?
River or an event with broken NPCs, because that is just not enough. Yes, there is some progress. Yes, that's like having
climate
something
control?
new to do
Gotcha.
in the game, but there is still no game. And CAG has promised the game 11 years ago. Yes, there were setbacks. Yes,
I thought he had a
there
burner
was
phone.
COVID. Yes, they have changed the initial idea, and now you can like land on planets and land wherever you want to. Yes, the game has expanded, but so did the money. So did the player base.
No, we have those phones here in America. I'm not calling him poor or things like that. Shut up, chat. Fucking weirdos.
And so did the time. Because, yeah, it's fucking 11 years now. And we still have bounty hunting, cargo running, and it's gonna get reworked. And maybe then piracy is gonna actually work. Maybe, we'll see. And then we have box missions and mining. And that's it. But box missions don't work. Cargo doesn't really work right now. We'll see if it's gonna work. Bounty hunting, it's so fucking boring that like we're just waiting for bounty hunting version 2. And like,
Which will still be boring.
where's the game? Where's salvage? Where's the rest of the things that were promised? But you, as a player, as an owner of a Carrack or an Aurora or a Mustang or an A90 Jump, you have your own voice, and you should use it, and you should be the noise that CAG is scared of. Because yeah, they need to be like scared a bit, and they need to have some negative feedback through YouTube or whatever, Spectrum, and then they're gonna realize
He's
that
right
this
about
is
that.
not working, and that we demand to see more progress, to deliver on what they have promised. Because
I think he's right in that case, but not really usually the way he says it. Like, we demand things like that. Like, you're not going to protest and get CIG to do what you want. They will only do whatever they want and whatever's in the best interest. They have constantly made changes that are outside of the player's best interests for the interests in the company. Hey, guys, thank you so much for your support. You guys are what allow us to do this. Then proceeds to take $50 million from an outside investor who has now clearly made Squadron 42 the priority. Like, they don't give a fuck about any of us. Like, let's get that shit clear and through your heads, guys. They don't give a shit about any of you guys. They don't give a shit about what you say. They're only going to do what's in the best interest of the company always. Every moderator that works there does everything in the best interest of the company. Every community manager does what's in the best interest of the company. Everybody does what's in the best interest of the company first. Okay? Like, I love Jake, I love Zyla, I love these guys, but that they know first off more than we do, so they have a bit of an advantage there, but they're always going to do what's in the best interest of that situation, because that's literally what their job is. I think Jake does a really good job. He comes by the community and helps engage with us. It helps try to help us understand a little bit more, gives us a little more context to situations. I think Jake is the best community manager that has ever come across this company because of that effort that he puts in. But in the end, he still works for the company and still puts the company's best interests first. If anything, he's doing that because he's putting the interests of the game and the company first, is trying to help us understand who's negative and maybe angry about something, why we shouldn't be in a lot of ways, and solidifying the facts of what CIG's changes they made that you may not like, whatever. So, yeah.
Because in the end, we're gonna have Pyro at some point soon. We're gonna have Nyx at some point soon. But what's the point in having new systems, expanding the universe? And this game should have like 100+ systems. But what is the use of having that many systems if all the planets are as dead as the planets that we have on Stanton, or the moons that we have on Stanton? Once that changes, we can say that there is actual progress. And yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons that are supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's gonna be a link down in the description of the video, and you can support me there. It's a smallish Patreon link, and if you want to donate something so I can review a ship for you or do some giveaways, yeah, you can do it through Patreon. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I guess don't forget to bring an 8K tower when you're traveling through space, because you're gonna need it, because nothing else works in the game. So yeah, like, at least you can look at it and it's gonna look nice. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Grumpy. Let me link the video to you guys, and yeah, I agree with a lot of things that he says, but at the same time, it's always his delivery and his rants and all that stuff are just not... I don't think that they're as productive as they could be. He's trying to get us to go out there and be productive and be heard, but yeah. I agree. Our standards are incredibly low. We lose our mind when they put a derelict caterpillar on the ground, but in reality, it's just another derelict. It's just another point of interest that is missing, I think, some of the key things. And for me, I will not get the I guess the level of doomer that Grumpy's at right now until meshing, and more importantly, I think something like any economy aspects to the game that drive me in different directions. I think like one of the best examples is like just the general pricing of commodities and minables and salvageables or whatever that'll be coming in the future. Have those be more dynamic and changing or valued for a different reason other than just alpha UEC. There's very not simple. They're obviously quite complex, but there are very key elements to the game that are more like overarching and reaching, which are getting more players into the game, because player interaction is probably the best thing about the game currently. And then the next thing for me would be like economy and org mechanics, right? Those things that drive you to play the game. I guess reputation as well. That is like way more in depth and way more like we saw those icons on the screen. I want to see what they're doing with that more than anything. And yeah, that's what I think when I don't my standards are low now because I don't expect anything until those are in their tier 0 implementation. Does that make sense? I am one of the people who have incredibly low standards, but post more players per server, post in-game economy, post reputation actually doing something besides giving you bonus money for completing the same boring missions over and over again, that is when my standards go way too high and I expect a lot more from them. But it all has to be core engine stuff done, like you mentioned in there, Jab, and then I'll start feeling how Grumpy feels now. But I think he is right that our standards are too low. I just think their standards for what's shippable are too low right now. I would rather wait and get a more shippable selling feature than get the one that we had previously and then be like, guys, look, selling. Oh, and by the way, we don't have any time to add to it other than a search bar, which is great, but not the actual thing you need is to not get carpal tunnel selling, all the items in the game one at a time, right? So there's that. But that's just my thoughts. I don't know. We always turn these into really long videos. His video's 20 minutes. This recording's like 50. Always.